brought in especially. That's what Mus'ab ibn Umayr was. The same individual who becomes a Muslim, that you find in one of the battles, that you find that he is taking place in the battle of Uhud, that he is carrying the banner, carrying the flag, his right hand is taken away, left hand is taken away, then with the stubs of his bodily parts he's raising the flag. Then when eventually he falls shaheed, you find when they go to bury this individual, there's the same individual in that beautiful garment as clothing. Companion said, we cover his head. His feet are empty. We cover his feet. His head is empty. How can we bury him? The same companion we see him walking around. Today there's nothing to cover him. So the messenger said, cover his head and place idkhir, the green grass of Makkah, over his feet, and bury him in that manner. The soul will hurt that. Think about these blessed individuals, a life of everything presented for them, yet they gave it up. They were told you're going to wear the bangles of leaders, the Persians, the Romans. How will that be? Destitute, poor Bedouin Arabs, that we're going to conquer such lofty goals. But what got them to those goals was the Iman, their focus, their commitment of never turning back. وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا فَاتَّبِعُوهُ. Remain steadfast upon that path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ. Remain steadfast, being told to do so. This ayat like Surah Hud, Imam Suyuti in his Tafsir Turul Mantur mentions, when his verse was sent down to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَمَا رُؤْيَ ضَاحِكًا. Never seen laughing in his life ever again. Very rarely you find him opening his mouth fully and laughing. But we become an ummah, a youth. The only thing that we're concerned about is pomp, play and amusement. That's all that concerns us. Entertainment. Life of entertainment for a believer is finished. La raha illa fil qabr. The rest of the believer, if it is to be destined, will be inside the grave. That's the only time. We're inside the akhirah. Person needs to carry on striving. That's why I read the seerah of many of the ulama, just like the companions. Imam Shafi'i, the age or young age of 13, Imam Malik, Imam al-Nawawi that we've been quoting throughout this lecture. Imam al-Nawawi, the age of 10. Not to say we should take people's childhood away. We read his seerah. Children are playing outside. He's weeping, crying, and let me go back and carry on my studies. Do we have young children like that today? Even if we have a few minute individuals say that we want to become scholars, we want to become imams, we want to become leaders. What's the supplication end of Surah Al-Furqan? رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. Place from amongst our wives and our progeny, our children, who will be coolness and the tenderness of our eyes, and to make us leaders of the pious individuals. Imam Suyuti mentions what is the meaning of coolness of the eyes. Not the akhirah, but also inside this dunya you see your youth upon piety, upon goodness, upon good actions. Thus the future rests upon the youth. If the youth are rectified and are good and are committed, then that is a good sign. But if the youth are becoming corrupt and are straying away, then the future is bleak. Even though we know that Islam will not be wiped out, Islam will always be victorious and come back, but it may take a very, very long journey. So our task is to begin to throw the seeds in the youth, that there is much great hope within you, that all of us rely upon. You obviously rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then via these young individuals to carry the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to spread it further than the companions took it by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to strive and struggle. Possibly not as hard as those individuals, but to have some form of even a small amount of striving and struggling those individuals that they had. At the same time, young individuals, not just a scholarly concept, but to conquer and to rule as well. Because sometimes we may focus upon the ilm, which obviously is the most initial stage, but there's been young individuals who conquered as well. Where they write about Fatih al-Sind wal-Hind, the conqueror of Sindh, of India and Pakistan, that we find Muhammad ibn Qasim al-Thaqafi, he conquered these lands at the age of 17. At the age of 17, he conquered these lands. And most of us, alhamdulillah, were Muslims because of the da'wah that he brought to India and to Pakistan, that area at that time. Likewise, find the Sultan Muhammad al-Fatih, when he was placed as the Amir, the Sultan, at the age of 10. And then he became the official leader at the age of 14. And that's when he says to his father to come back and to lead the Muslim army in a battle. The father says that you know that I've gone into retirement and it's for you to take care of the affairs of the Muslims. So this young individual who is now the Sultan, the leader, the Amir, he says, oh my beloved father, if you've placed me as the leader, the Sultan, then I'm not telling you as a son, I'm telling you as a leader to come back and to lead the army and fight the army. Do we have such caliber today of Muslims amongst ourselves who have that dream? Yes, it may be a dream, but you know, Muslim dreams, they become a reality. They become a reality eventually. People who dream begin to at some stage begin to live their dreams. Don't live their dreams here, they live them at another stage inside the akhirah, inshallah. So we need to begin to focus upon our youth. Firstly, to begin to rectify their belief, to bring them out of the life of crime, the life of haram, disobedience, sinning that's predominantly affecting many of our youth. Encourage them to come back to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala conducive towards them, to create avenues of not just spiritual obedience, but to help them in their worldly skills as well. Because more and more, unfortunately, we find that the most uneducated minorities inside this country happens to be the Muslim youth. That's a reality that we have to face. Many of our youth are uneducated, bare minimal standards of education, the system that's around them, a life of increasing crime, disobedience. Now we no longer find other types of crime, we find Muslim or Muslim crime that begins to take place. Trafficking of drugs, prostitution, haram, fraud that's taking place in our communities, and we turn a blind eye. So the masjid and the community needs to be effective in tackling these issues and these affairs and bringing them back to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hope is not lost for these individuals. Because some of the companions, they went through a bad life and they became better individuals. As Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah mentioned some strange words. رُبَّ طَاعَةٍ يَجُرُّكَ إِلَى مَعْصِيَةٍ. Perhaps disobedience or obedience can lead you to disobedience. وَرُبَّ مَعْصِيَةٍ يَجُرُّكَ إِلَى الطَّاعَةِ. And perhaps disobedience can lead you to obedience. Because sometimes people who may have knowledge or know about actions, they could become arrogant. And that could lead you to disobedience. So one way we should be presenting our da'wah is to stay away from becoming arrogant towards Muslims. You're all our younger brothers or older brothers and sisters with here. The reminder benefits oneself. One isn't here to traumatize or to belittle any individual. Likewise, when we give da'wah, is wishing khair, goodness for individual. That's a great blessing. Many of the ulama, they write that many of the students began to excel their teachers, began to compile their work, and began to do many good actions and compilations. That's a sign of a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they can rise from amongst us a few individuals who excel what the masjid is doing, what the imams are doing. That's going to be a great blessing. Likewise, we find that this focus of the youth to help them in the affairs of their dunya as well, to help them to get better skills. Because what are the many issues that we face is a lack of financial resources to help the Muslim community. So imagine a Muslim gains a good skill, a good qualification. They can help the Muslim community in ways that is unbelievable at times. So we need to inspire that a life of obedience towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a life which will take away the good things of this dunya. Rather, many blessings of the dunya will begin to take place when a person begins to tread the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq and ability to take these words and to implement them to the best of our ability and try to better our community around us. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولجميع المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.